Welcome to another special presentation on Euro 2020, delayed by a year. Getting started, we've got a program that's kicking by that's called Off the Field. The pandemic delayed it, but the human spirit prevailed as Euro 2020 is finally here. Famished football fans can't wait longer as European top 24 teams showcase their skills across 11 cities for European glory. Some of the world's best footballers will put football back in the mindspace of fans at Euro and the world for the next 1 month. In football, it's the age of Europe reasserting its continental supremacy over Latin America. The last 4 World Cups have been won by European teams. 6 of football's top 7 are from Europe. This century's radical footballing ideas were devised in Europe. From tiki-taka to gegenpress, possession to pressing football, false nines to inverted wingers, from Pep Guardiola to Jurgen Klopp, Thomas Tuchel to Joachim Löw, it's where the money too is, and that's where best footballing talent flocks to. From Lionel Messi to Neymar, Latin America might be the world's talent factory, but they are packaged into world beaters in Europe. This time around, it's an open field. Can Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal prepare to defend their title, or will world champions France seek a rare double a year after the tournament was delayed due to the coronavirus pandemic? Let's get started with the top story. Well, often called as mini FIFA World Cup, the Euro Cup is all set to amaze football fans across the world from tonight. For the first match of the championship, Italy and Turkey will be taking on each other at the Olympiacos Stadium in Rome. The tournament will go on for a full month in which 24 teams from Europe will face each other to become champions of 2021. The tournament was delayed for a year due to COVID-19.
One of the biggest football extravaganza is set to unroll in Europe from Friday. After a long drought of action, fans will finally get to see professional football action on the ground. The Euro Cup, known as European Championship, is all set to begin from 11th of June. For the next 1 month, European football giants including Spain, England, France, Croatia will be competing for the coveted trophy. The Euro Cup was first organized in the year 1960 and since then is played after every 4 years. But this time it is different. It is for the first time that Euro Cup is being hosted together by 11 countries. A total of 24 teams are participating in this month-long championship tournament. Teams have been divided into 6 groups comprising 4 teams each. Germany and Spain have won the cup 3 times each, which is the highest number of wins for a single country. Quarter-finals will be played from 2nd of July. Semi-finals will be played on 7th and 8th of July. Finals will be played on 11th of July at London's Wembley Stadium. Only 10 teams have been able to win the previous 15 editions of the European Championship. While Germany and Spain have won the title 3 times, France has taken home the cup twice. The tournament was scheduled to be played after 2020 but was delayed by a year due to COVID pandemic. Sports Desk, DD India.
Well, let's now take a look at the 24 teams who are participating in this tournament, or how the teams are participating, how have the drums been formed. Let's take a look at the quick look at a few surprises that could be there in the teams that have been announced quickly. Let's take a look at the participating teams of 2020 and the surprises that the 24 countries have. Group A, you've got Italy, Switzerland, Turkey, Wales. You've got big guns there. Italy making a resurgence in Euro, trying to make a comeback. Belgium, the world's top-ranked team there, trying this time around to make it count with the big guns like Kevin De Bruyne. Doing good. Netherlands making a comeback once again, but could be a hot favorite from this particular Group C to progress. Group D, England, Croatia, Czech Republic, Scotland, not much to choose from, but England and Croatia will be the firm favorites after Croatia lost the last World Cup final. This time around looking to make amends in this particular World Cup. Spain, Poland, Sweden, Slovakia. My 2 picks, Spain and Poland from this group. Group F, the group of death, Germany, France, the defending champions, Portugal and Hungary. All 3 teams could progress considering the way this particular draw has been formed. So those are the teams that are the 24 teams that are in fray in this particular Euro 2020 that's been delayed by a year. And it could be, it could be surprising, purely looking at the polls that have been done, France clearly coming out as a hot favorite team to make it count this time around. But would it pan or would it play around in the same fashion as one anticipates? Is Cristiano Ronaldo going to have a final goodbye, especially by reclaiming the crown that he helped Portugal win in 2016? Or are we going to see some surprises? The French men, doing a rare double, winning the World Cup and following it up with European glory this time around with Euro 2021. We'll have to wait and watch. But to get a perspective on the beautiful game and what the beautiful game means, especially, two gentlemen joining us this on our program here off the field. Shaji Prabhakaran, President of the Delhi Football Association, joining us. Also joining us is Mickey Aigner, joining us, football commentator, joining us this evening to giving us insights into the game of football. Shaji, coming to you first. The beautiful game, second biggest tournament. Do you see it's about politics and economics of normalcy?
Oh, thank you for having me, Anil. I'm really looking forward to this festival of football, and for me, what I see is that during these tough times, this is the biggest sporting event the world will witness, and the quality of football in display will be, the top one, and definitely, it's all about football and little about politics, I would say, because this has been already delayed for 12 months.
Okay.
The players, the fans are all looking forward to this, and it is great that fans will be back in the stadium, but not in full capacity, but at least to 25 to 30 to 35%. That's again would lift up all of us who are suffering because of this pandemic, and this Euro 2020 will give us a lot of inspiration and a lot of celebration time for this 1 month.
Okay, for 1 month we'll have celebrations going. Coming to you, Mickey, looking at the way this particular Euro 2020, delayed by a year, now about to kickstart, do you see that it's better organized than most other events, especially in these COVID times? The way they have, planned out 11 cities, will be venues for this particular action, but it looks better organized than many other sporting events, the way things are, in this particular Euro 2020. Would you say it's been better organized, better managed in the way, one looks at all the tournaments that have been held in the COVID times?
Yeah, it's a challenging time, no doubt, and UEFA is a top sporting organization, and they have the experience now, organizing all the Champions League, Europa Cup, and in all the leagues which have gone through all last 1 year, and UEFA is much better prepared to handle the situation, and the strict protocols will be followed on COVID, and definitely there will be some disruption because we never know when COVID will strike, and that way I am sure they will have a plan B to complete the championship on time.
Okay. Also looking at the big guns, especially Cristiano Ronaldo, managing to hold on to that crown for 1 year longer. But this time around, do you see Portugal as a hot favorite, or would you say that it has to be France as a team that you would look at, considering the good run that they had in the World Cup?
Portugal, no doubt, they have a great team, and their youth players, those who are coming along and joining Cristiano, is only adding strength to the Portugal team. But first, they have to be, in the group. They are in group of death with Germany, France, and Hungary, and that is where this Euro will be decided. I think the top two finish in the group. If they manage, then we can see they will be playing the final. Otherwise, the France there looks to be the hot favorite.
Okay, France the hot favorites for this, and that's what the poll says. I'll get the polls out a little while later. But let's now look at some young guns there. Euro 2020 will show a lot of exciting young talents like Phil Foden, Mason Mount, Jude Bellingham, Kai Havertz, Rhian Gravenberg, Freddy Gonzalez, Jaden Sancho. Let's take a look at our top 5 pick.
The superstars of the game like Manuel Neuer, Harry Kane, Anthony Griezmann, Cristiano Ronaldo, Luka Modric will be in the spotlight. There are a number of young players who have impressed many at an early stage of their careers. Here we take a look at the top 5 youngsters to watch out for in Euro 2020 championships. Mason Mount, the winner of the UEFA Champions League 2020-2021 season with Chelsea and was also nominated for the Premier League Young Player of the Year and Player of the Year awards, but lost both to Phil Foden and Ruben Dias. Mount was central to Chelsea's incredibly successful season, both under previous manager Frank Lampard and the current head coach Thomas Tuchel. He was the one whose through ball enabled Blues forward Kai Havertz to score the winning goal in the Champions League final against Man City. England's hopes from Mount have only increased with the way Mount finished the 2020-2021 season. Kai Havertz, the man responsible for Chelsea winning only their second UEFA Champions League title. Havertz is the most expensive player in the Blues' history. Even before the switch to Premier League, Havertz had established himself in the Germany lineup, playing a number of roles ranging from striker to playmaker. Under Joachim Löw, Havertz mostly starts as a support striker who is fluid in attack. His chemistry with club teammate Timo Werner has lifted many German fans' hopes. In 14 matches for Germany so far, Havertz has 3 goals to his name. Many are even backing him to play the central striker's role for Germany in Euro 2020, considering the poor form Werner has shown of late. Jaden Sancho, one of the most talked about young forwards in the game. Jaden Sancho has been subjected to huge transfer speculations over a year or so. The white forward is capable to play on either wing and is considered among the best when it comes to one-on-one situation. Sancho, who presently is on the payroll of Borussia Dortmund, could seek himself a move to the Premier League or another top club in European football with a good show in Euro 2020. Despite being just 21 years old, Sancho is a confirmed starter in the highly competitive England team. Pedri Gonzalez. In just one season, Barcelona youngster has risen through the ranks in Spain. 18-year-old has been a consistent starter in a massive club like Barcelona, playing the brand of passing football that even Spain likes. Pedri deservedly earned a spot in Luis Enrique's Spain side, having been compared to Barca legend Andres Iniesta for his playing style. Pedri has 3 games for Barcelona under his belt, and the tally is expected to increase significantly in Euro 2020. Rhian Gravenberg. The Ajax Academy has produced many fine footballers over the years, and they continue to do so even today. Gravenberg is another name for the club's academy that is making the right noises. Having not featured in the 2016 Euro or the 2018 FIFA World Cup, the Netherlands have a lot to prove in Euro 2020. The 19-year-old midfielder is Ajax's youngest player to bag a senior cap and has since become central to their gameplay in the midfield. He has the most minutes in the senior club campaign under his belt of under-19 players this season. He's likely to be a starter for the Netherlands too, despite being a teenager. Sports Desk, DD India.
Well, taking the discussion forward, Mickey still with us. Mickey, looking at the way, Europe has, though it's called the mini World Cup, but do you somewhere feel, Euro every year or Euro every 4 years bring forth much more than what the World Cup brings?
Sure, Anil, and in fact, thank you for having me on this show today. Euro obviously brings much more to the plate because we've got the biggest leagues playing in, biggest leagues actually involved, the players of biggest leagues involved in this tournament. And everybody likes to look at them playing in their national colors. And when it comes to all this, it's an amalgamation of all major stars all put together on one platform performing against each other. Now this is itself is a spectacle because you have the Ronaldo, you have Mbappe, you've got Manuel Neuer, you've all got all of them in three put together into one group, which itself is a wonder to see them watch at this level.
Okay. Also looking at, since you mentioned that particular group, many call it the group of death, but I call it the group of faith, purely looking at the talent that one could see, especially in the group stage. Does that make that, that this particular tournament mouth-watering, especially in the group stage, considering you've got Germany, Portugal there, along with France playing, against each other in the initial days of the tournament?
Every tournament looks to set its pace, let's put it that way. The group of death this year, with three big guns actually all in the line of having a chance at the title, playing each other at the group stage will set the tone in terms of an appetite. An appetite is always needed for a tournament to actually kickstart it into a bigger, as you call it in Hindi, dhamaka. And it's necessary actually for everything of this sort.
Okay. But, looking at tournaments, especially Euro, 2004 had a share of Greece surprising everyone by winning the tournament. 2016, Cristiano Ronaldo taking it or helping Portugal, get that coveted trophy. This time around, Mickey, do you see an option of, an unknown entity or an unknown nation picking up the tournament? Or do you see it very much going on the lines of, one of those hot favorites in Europe or the European teams, bagging the coveted crown?
This time around, I feel with the types of leagues that have been opened up and the type of football that has been played, it would go as per the rankings, as you call it, or as per what you say, as per expected lines in terms of who the big guns are.
Okay. Shaji, when you look at this particular tournament, you also got some young guns there, in the fray. Some young guns that are, that are looking for, taking the world by storm, or looking at, the clubs that could pick them, once they become hot property in this tournament. Which are the names that you look forward to? And, some of the young guns that you have your eye on, who you think could be the next big things in world football?
I think it's all will depend upon how many of them get game time and how they will perform on the opportunities what they will get, because it is a different platform, not as what they at the local league or at the Champions League. Here the pressure to play for the country is different, and therefore definitely Sancho is one name where everybody will be looking as far as England is concerned, and Havertz, the German who has given the Champions League trophy to Chelsea, is certainly these two players I look forward to seeing making an impact, and I'm sure they will have game time, and that is where we will see emerging stars coming out from this Euro, and then we need somebody to challenge Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's just 36 now, and we might see a future star emerging from Euro, definitely.
Okay, Mickey, coming back to Shaji talking about a star coming from Euro, but two teams that nobody is talking about as the European Championship gets away. One, Italy, who have been on an undefeated or an unbeaten run, and the other one, Netherlands, who are making a comeback. How do you look at these two teams and the prospects of Italy and Netherlands?
See, Italy is a team is always surprises. They will like to have a strong performance, because last World Cup they struggled and they kind of rebuilt under Roberto Mancini, and they are unbeaten, and everyone will be looking to Italy to this is the stage, and they might do well. What I think is, and Netherlands is also in a rebuilding phase, but I bet more on Italy than Netherlands to do something inspiring in Europe.
Okay, Mickey, how would you take that? Would you see differently that Italy and Netherlands? How would you put them, and how would you rate their performance and their chances going into Euro 2020?
In regard to what Saji just said, Italy, yes, basically on the history. Netherlands, yes, on a given day they can actually peak to their levels because they've got a good youth system, and it's probably the best in the world in terms of youth. So the emerging stars, the developmental aspect of it, all put together makes Netherlands, maybe a notch lower than Italy. Italy.
But Shaji, when you look at continental supremacy and what they bring to the table, do you feel this time around a team like Croatia, or for that matter Wales, somebody who's got a Luka Modric, somebody who's played the last World Cup finals but ended up on the losing side, or maybe a Gareth Bale, being inspiration enough to take their team at least to the semi-finals? Do you see that surprise package in either of them? Well, Mickey, how would you look at it in terms of continental supremacy? Do you see Croatia? Do you give Croatia a chance, or for that matter, even Wales? With Gareth Bale there, do you give them a chance this time around? Can they help their team? Go the distance at least to a semi-finals?
Wales. Let's talk of Wales. If you talk of Wales, you have just maybe you need an element of surprise beyond just Gareth Bale for that matter, as you rightly pointed out. For Croatia, either which way they play tough football, they have been creative. They have been pushing themselves, but somewhere down the line, it's like a dark horse running into the light. That's what Croatia is all about. So Croatia will have to wait in terms of having that sting factor beyond just playing the rough football or whatever they are known for.
Okay, Shaji, another name that comes to mind, Robert Lewandowski. This time around, can he be that X factor, that can stir the team up and help the team, progress further this time around, maybe take it to the quarterfinals and beyond? Or do you see that, the team doesn't have the firepower to play around Robert Lewandowski?
Yeah, Lewandowski, no doubt, is the leading striker in Europe, with consistently scoring those big goals, and the number of goals is far ahead. But unfortunately, he won't have that kind of support when he's playing for Poland, and that's where the team is entirely dependent on him to do everything, and that's where the challenge is. And I don't think Lewandowski will have a great support from his team to get those number of goals in Europe, but it will be surprising if he takes single-handedly Poland to the next round.
Okay, Mickey, now looking at this way this particular tournament has been fashioned, you're playing across 11 venues, but you look at some of the big guns in Europe, say in England, Germany, Holland, Spain, even for that matter Denmark and Italy. Looking at the travel time that they have in the group stage is very less or as good as zero. But take a look at, say, somebody like a Switzerland, a Poland, or for that matter even Sweden and Belgium. The amount of traveling that they do in the group stage is immense, close to 10,000 kilometers that they're traveling in the group stage. Does that take a lot on the team, especially when you travel so much in the group stage?
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. Travel does make the they make everything go upside down. It could mean even spending less time on tactics, all worked out, which can be detrimental in terms of how much time the coach can spend with the squad. But again, having said that, travel time, apart from the fatigue aspect of it, nothing more. But as far as the tactics and all are concerned, I suppose these things are all worked out back end. And it just needs to be implemented. This is the stage where travel fatigue all has to be put in the back of the mind and perform.
Okay, now one quick word before I let you go. Looking at also English football team, that's where the semi-final and final are going to be played at Wembley. Do you give England a chance, considering that you had two English football clubs playing the Champions League final? Would you give England a chance or a run for their money in this particular Euro?
Sure, England is also a front runner. In fact, what initially we could say is that England is sure shot going right up to the knockouts and beyond that also.
Okay.
The only question is who they meet in path finally.
Okay, Shaji, your two picks. If I ask you for the World Cup, for the Euro Cup, the Mini World Cup, how would you say the two picks or the two teams that you think are the dark horses of the tournament?
Dark horses, it's like the England might be surprising if they kind of click as a team.
Okay.
In terms of potential, they have great talent on the pitch, and with Harry Kane, top goal scorer, and the youngsters is what they got. They should click, and if they click, then they can really surprise and reach all the way to the final.
Okay, you didn't give me your second dark horse. I think you will stick with one England there, your dark horse for this particular tournament. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. It is a pleasure having both of you here in the studios, taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on this special program Off the Field as Euro 2020 kicks off later tonight. Well, moving on now. Before the tournament got underway, let's take a look at some of the records that are waiting to be shattered in this particular tournament. There will be many firsts at Euro 2020. The video assistant referee, that's VAR, will be at play. As many as 5 substitutes will be allowed instead of the regular 3. And Finland and North Macedonia will be the 2 debutants in this particular tournament. This will also be the first edition to be hosted as many as 11 cities, with the Wembley Stadium in London hosting the final on July 12th. The 24 teams have been divided into 6 groups, and all eyes are on that opening encounter that one is going to see tonight, Italy taking on Turkey. So some of the new rules that are going to come into play, and this could be an interesting watch, especially 5 substitutes instead of the regular 3. Does that give more impetus to the coaches to play around, especially with players that have the firepower, especially the old legs, to come good in this particular tournament? 11 host cities, so it makes it very interesting purely in terms of the travel that some of the teams would end up doing, especially teams like Switzerland, who would end up traveling close to 10,000 kilometers in the group stage. Wembley, and that's where England comes back as a hot favorite, because the semi-finals and finals will be played at the Wembley Stadium in London. Well, some of the 24 teams will have to crisscross the continent as 11 countries host the postponed Euro 2020. Let's take a look at some of the 11 main venues of this particular tournament. How do they stand and where they are? First, it starts off with Amsterdam Arena, the stadium with 4,000. This is the distance, the long and short of it, the distance Denmark and Italy have to travel during the group stage. Amsterdam Stadium, the stadium with 4,200 solar panels and a wind farm there, that makes it interesting. The next one, Baku, where only local Azeri, that's Italy, and citizens participating teams will be allowed. The third one, Bucharest, the highest attendance at this stadium is 90,000 during a Michael Jackson concert way back, and more than half of the country is vaccinated. The stadium will run to full capacity in Budapest. That's 60,000 people in that stadium. Copenhagen, the largest hotel in the country, is inside the stadium compound, so that makes it interesting. Glasgow, built in 1903, the oldest footballing stadium in the world, and will have a lot of history and trivia attached to it. London, the Wembley Stadium we talked about, has the longest single roof span in the world. Munich, full color, changing exterior will be a highlight as teams play on that particular ground. Going to Rome, the stadium has undergone 5 renovations in its 84-year existence. Going to Russia, St. Petersburg, it's cost 24 billion rubles to build it, one of the most expensive stadiums in the world. Finally, Spain and Seville, it is originally built to host the 1999 World Athletic Championship, and this time had a ground used for football, and it could be an interesting 11 stadiums where we could see lot of action, footballing action that's going to take place with 24 teams across the next 1 month. Let's now also take a look at the travel time, the long and short of travel time that one's going to face in this particular tournament. Few teams that don't have to travel much, but few like Switzerland, Poland, Belgium, Sweden, that would have to do a lot of traveling in this tournament, especially in the group stage. Well, the action begins tonight, and the fight for the TV remote also is going to get a bit tougher as footballing action begins. And it's going to be interesting. Remember, we are in COVID times, and footballing action for the next month is going to give us sleepless night and early morning blues. But let's enjoy football as, once again, Euro 2020 is back after a year. That's all we have time for. It's time to say goodbye, but you take good care of yourself. Have a safe and wonderful 1 month ahead, watching good football and watching new poster boys of world football. Bye for now.